Heather better for it, you know, and I'm grateful. That's all I can say.
I don't have a reggae story. I'm not part of the reggae family. But I have a lot of gratitude. I'm Sierra, and I'm Carol's daughter-in-law. So my story is like Dee Dee's. It's just one of thank you and gratitude and counting the blessings. I have the most amazing husband, Ken, and Carol brought him to me. And with my amazing husband, we have a beautiful son, Paris. So not only did Carol bring me an amazing husband and a beautiful son, but she was the model, and she lived how to be a woman, a wife, and a mother. And it's through her that I got to experience, realize, and battle within my own demons how to live with and give unconditional love. Unconditional love to my son as she gave and took her last breath for Gary. That's some deep love. And moms, we can only imagine what her heart went through. Yes, a mother's love. She said to me when I was pregnant, "You're giving birth to royalty." What a beautiful way to humble me. Because it takes a lot of humbling to be a mom. And it takes a lot of humbling to stand solid. Maybe not all the time, because I am a woman. But to stand beside Kenny as I watch Carol stand beside John. So thank you to all the beautiful organizers who took your time and your energy, and everyone who supported all of us to be here and gather and extend from our hearts that royalty that Carol spoke to me to each other. I think that's why we're all here, and unity, community, and that love that she's given to all of us. Thank you.
I'll take that.
Hi. So I was really delighted when I heard that Carol started going to the same oncologist that I have. She's brilliant, and she was in great care. And but I have a really short story. At Carol's 60th birthday party. Whoops. It's at her 60th birthday party in Garberville. She screamed out one thing during her speech. 60's the new 40. That's it. That was my Carol.
So I hope everyone's being fire safe today. Remember, if you're from out of town, it's a big deal.
Thank you.
Since you mentioned fire, you PG&E is in trouble right now. So they might have to change their name. It's still going to be PG&E, but it's going to stand for Please Get Ernie. So Carol turned us all on to dozens and dozens and dozens of bands, and like my kids would come home from college and say, oh, you know, they'd be playing something, and Katie would say, oh yeah, Carol booked them 2 years ago. She was just on the pulse. She was on it, and I really miss it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Donnie. I'm Candace McNair, if anybody knows. And I'm wearing this because it was one of Carol's favorite outfits of mine for reggae. It seems a little flashy, but that was Carol. I was honored to be Jimmy Dangler's assistant stage manager, and it was a little overwhelming, but really fun. And the second year, I think, I had to get these video releases. And Katie Stern had told me that if I'm going into the main trailer, I had to be really invisible. You know, I couldn't say anything, I couldn't talk to anybody, I could just make my copies and get out of it. So knowing Katie, as I did, I said, okay, I'll go in. So I go in and I'm making my copies, and in comes this wonderful reggae head of his band. I don't even remember who he was, but he was angry as hell. And he was yelling and screaming at Carol. And he said, I can't stand this, I'm leaving, I'm not going on stage. He was due to go on stage, the second band after this one. And she was sitting there, and she said, oh, hi, you know, whatever his first name was. And he's yelling and screaming, and everybody cleared out of the trailer except for Katie and Carol and myself. I was hovering in the corner. And this story is, for me, the way Carol loved. So she stood up and she put a hand on him, I don't remember his name, and said, calm down, we love each other. Remember, we've known that for a long time. Just sit down. And he's yelling, and she kind of leads him over and sits him down at the table, asks for some water or something. She said, calm down, we love each other. I'm sure we can work this out. And he's still grumbling and kind of, and he said, I need more money, or I need to go, or whatever. She was very calm, and she said, well, we have a contract, you know. And he said, well, and he was just screaming. She said, we love each other. This can work out. If you need more money, of course we'll get you more money. If you need more time, we'll get you more time, but you will go on stage, won't you? And he just kind of looked at her and said, well, yes, I guess I can do that. And the next thing I knew, within about 7 minutes, they were laughing, they were drinking water or whatever. And he said, no, we don't need to change anything, and I don't need any more money. And then they got up and hugged each other and left. Oh my God. And I thought, this is love in action, right? This was Carol in action. There were also those times when people came up behind me and hugged me and thought I was Carol. I thought that was great. I have no idea why. We don't look alike. And then one day she shared the vision that she had in Hawaii about how Reggae on the River started for her. And it was such a vision of light and love and real unity that I thought, of course, she's guided by the Spirit. She's guided by the Spirit of love. And of course it was going to be a success. So I was honored to know her and feel like a sister. Thank you, John.
Hi, it's ironic that Candace mentioned Hawaii. I have so many Carol stories. I loved her so much. But this one kind of like sticks out. I met Carol when I was 19 years old, and I'm on Social Security, so it's been a while. And I met her up in Kula. She was the most amazingly beautiful person I had ever seen in my life. She was just like, oh my gosh. And I met her and she said, I have 3 little boys. They're so sweet. Would you babysit them? So So I did. I said, of course, I'll do anything you want. And it's funny because Danny and I recently were talking about this, and he remembered. So the first time I babysit them, I came to this place called the Silver Sword, and it had a big, long lawn. And there they were, and she's like, bye! And they started rolling down the lawn into the street. It was awful. Like, I was so traumatic. I was so young, and it was just crazy. And she came back, and she's like, how were they? And I wanted to, like, be friends with her, and I'm like, they were great. I mean, it was just many times. And then I babysat them for quite a while back then. And then we met back up. I mean, we've been friends a long, long time. I mean, I had zillions. One of the stories that sticks out, and Tegan and I were just talking about that, was when Danny and Shannon had Tegan, and we were at the concert, and Carol handed me everything and said, you're on. And I just went, no! And I mean, it was just amazing. Like, I mean, she just had so much trust, and she was so positive and so beautiful, and we've remained friends all these years. I worked with her, you know. I mean, I just love you, Carol, and I miss you.
Love you, Carol.
Hi, everybody. My name's Marissa, and I grew up at Reggae. I went to the first one, and I saw all the strong women around me, and they were running shit. And so that's the person that I wanted to be when I grew up. So as I got older, the first thing that I did was work Reggae on the River at 13 years old, because I had to be on a crew. And you know, it's been 28 years I've been working festivals because of Carol and all the strong women around me that I was raised with. And all these women, you know, they made their way, and they showed me that you can really do anything. And Carol was just always there as the queen at the helm. And so, you know, I just say thank you to Carol, because she was such a beautiful, amazing person and mentor.
Yes.
I'm Tula, and I was a good friend of Carol's. And I just wanted to say a couple things. When I first came up here, my former partner, I was working in Hollywood, and he said, get in the car and drive up. So I drove all the way all night and arrived at Reggae on the River. Never been in anything like this before with my kids, and thought, oh my God, I'm never gonna not come every year. So I came back, and I never met Carol yet. And I had a car, I moved up this way following that year, and not up here, but to the Bay Area. And I had a car that was parked backstage. And one of the trucks hit the car and knocked off the back rear lamp or whatever. And so there was this note on there, and it said, go see Carol Bruno. And so I was like really scared, because I thought there was going to be anger and somebody's going to be mad because I parked my car there or something like that. And when I walked in, she was like, oh, is that your car? She said, just get me a quote, and I'll send you a check on Monday when we get back in the office or something like that. And I just couldn't believe how nice she was and how beautiful and how she handled it. But that was just the start of understanding how to be the kind of woman that she was, because she was on a higher frequency, which I wasn't really. I was more on I was just a hard person in reggae. I mean, people called me to run their gates and stuff, because nobody could ever get anything past me. But I learned how to be soft and how to understand how to talk to people, and how to love frequency worked for her and worked around everybody that is here today. And that's the only thing I can remember about her mostly, is that she was a gift, and she had this love frequency that she worked on, and we all need to take that with us and continue to work on that to offset the darkness. And that's what I have to say.
Yes.
Where's your horn, Bruce?
Ho!
God, it's good to be with the whole family. Awesome. Awesome to be here. I met Carol a long time ago. I was living in Alder Point, kind of out of it for Soham, which was kind of over here on the west. And in town, I would see people. But she was the goddess, and she was the mother hen, and I went to work for her. A lot of us did, because she was such a strong leader. And she had really good principles and a lot of love in mind for everybody, and we were just all attracted to be with her and work. We became sort of the reggae junkies, our wives were the reggae widows, if you know what I mean, who weren't here and involved. But one thing I know and I remember most about Carol is she wanted us to get together. She really did. And she really grew this group with her personal strength and stuff, and the unity that she brought. I love to see that old sign out. And it's the community, and I just want to remind everybody that the community center is still going. We're struggling at times, but it's still who we are, and it's what we make it. And if we'd all show up there a little more, we could make it like it was in the old days and better, because we're rich these days. In those days, we were dirt hippies walking around Garberville like you see right now. And I don't want anybody looking down on anybody around here. Whoever makes it here is part of this group in the community center. It's really the truth, and it's our strength. So come down, check it out, bring your celebrations, bring your energy, and let's just keep this tribe going at our community center. It's your place. Welcome.
Hi, my name's Jade. I grew up with Kenny and Danny, Gary, Benji, and I just want to give my respects to the family. Kenny, John, my hat's off to you. You took care of Carol to the end, and I love you so much. And everybody here, thank you for coming and honoring Carol. She's always been there for me and obviously for all of us. I remember when I was young, seeing John spin the pottery and Carol painting it, and she was so happy to, as an artist, I was just amazed how good she could draw the flowers on the pottery, and that always left a real impression on me. That when she was doing reggae, sometimes I would think, well, I wonder if she's still doing her art like that. And reggae kind of overtook a lot of things, but it was so beautiful at the same time. I'd like to share a little reggae story that, once again, that for me, this is more about Carol and honoring the family than Reggae on the River. But it's hard not to share some of the funny stories that we all remember as well, as I'm sure she would encourage me to tell. I probably worked almost every job throughout the years in the tiers of the reggae factor. And one of them, I remember me and Brian were young, we were high on mushrooms, and PB and Carol told us to watch the gate out at the rocks so you guys can't cause any trouble. And so we were out there and we're like, oh God, it's like 110, man, Jesus Christ. Well, we got a little bottle of tequila and we got some mushrooms and we're cool out here, you know, so how are we gonna stop these people if they start running at us, you know what I mean? Tell them no. And we're like, all of a sudden we see this guy, I don't know if you remember the DJ Stevie. Just do raw Stevie, but there's this little guy out there, ooh, ah, and he's coming from us, and we see him from about a half a mile away on the rocks, and he's coming, and he's hopping on his hands, and then his feet, and then his hands and his feet. He moved like 20 feet at a time toward us, and we were like, this is the funniest shit ever, man. These mushrooms are great. And as he got closer, we were like, wow, it's really hot, man. Is this guy still doing this? And as the closer he gets, he's like, oh my God, thank you guys. Can I just stand in your shadow for a second? And we realized his feet are like burning off, you know, and we're like, go ahead, man. Enjoy the festival, you know, you made it this far. Anyway, some laughter and smiles and hugging the family and paying our respects, and that's what it's all about. And thank you everybody for showing up. I love you all.
Ah, shooky, shooky.
Hi, I'm Jerry. I don't know most of you, but I know some of you. I started working reggae coming up from San Francisco because I did perimeter security. And all of us were from out of town. And eventually I wound up moving to Garberville. So I started going to the meetings to kind of represent my crew. And then the people I worked for, Steve and Sherry Rigney, decided to retire and asked me to take over for them. And Carol didn't miss a beat. Decided, of course. And she had the confidence and faith in me. She didn't micromanage. She let me grow in my position. And sitting here listening to all these stories, I realized that there's this thread that she did for all of us, that she had that confidence and faith in us and let us grow. But more importantly, she let me grow as a human being and to become the person that I am today. And so I am forever grateful. I got to work with many of you, to know many of you, and to love absolutely every one of you from the bottom of my heart because of Carol. And so I know, because I now have this reminder of that I am going to try and go forward and help others rise up to become who they should be. Because that's what Carol taught me, more importantly than anything else, was just to love and accept and have confidence and faith in our fellow human beings. So thank you, Carol, and thank you. I love you all.
Hi, I'm the sound guy. This is how you hold the mic. Jade's the only one who knows that. So Carol changed my life because I came here during the first or second or third